If you watched the last video, we did just a basic field stripping of the Walther PDP F-Series, and we went over how I clean it. Now, the one thing we didn't show removing the striker assembly. And it's a little tricky on the Walther PDP F-Series. It's different from the regular PDPs, and not by much, but it is different. And we're going to go over it right now without further ado. So what we have the Walther PDP. The first thing we're going to do is make sure it's safe. Lock that slide back. I'm going to look down, make sure it's clear. Put my finger in it. It is clear. We're going to aim it in a safe direction, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that trigger. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the slide. I pull down the takedown pins, go like so. And again, if you want a more in-depth refresher, just check out the other video. Should be probably popping up right about there about this time. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the guide rod. We're going to remove the barrel. Put that aside. Now we're ready to get to the striker. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this and I'm going to lock in my focus so we won't wiggle about too much. And I'm going to use a 1/16 punch. Doesn't necessarily have to be a roll pin punch, just a 1/16 punch. And here's what I'm going to do with it. You see that little hole and that little slide plate in the back? I'm going to take it and line it up directly in that hole, and I'm going to push down. And you're going to hear a little pop. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to gently take that punch and angle it downward ever so slightly. Not to put any flex on the punch, just enough to move that slide plate from out of its original position. Now, unlike the Walther PDPs, the F-Series, the PDP F-Series, you don't have to worry about the striker assembly shooting out because it's locked in. It has a lock this in, and that's one of the big differences. So I remove my plate. Pay attention to this shelf, because that's going to play a key part in reassembly. And also pay attention to the firing pin, the striker assembly. There's a little plastic tab. Pay attention to this orientation. The best way to remember it, there's a little fin here. It's going to follow the fin, and it's going to line up with this little groove right there. That's just the best way to remember it. So now what I'm going to do, and this is one of the big differences, there is a little mechanism here that now you want to make sure you put your hand in here, because there's going to be a little tension. Not much, shouldn't shoot out far, but I've done this a few times. So I push that little bit there. I'm going to point that out with my punch. It's right there. You just push that directly down. If you want to do it with your punch, if you need to, feel free. Just push it down, and that's going to release your firing pin assembly. Now I'm going to pull it out, and I can look right here. There's a little spring that's coming loose. Now when you first do this, that spring is going to be it's going to be on there really good. And as you do it more, that spring is just going to sit right there, which is perfectly fine. That spring is going to be fine right there. So this is your firing. Oh, pickles! I hit something. My plate. This is going to be your striker assembly. The way I do it, I do remove this little spring, set it somewhere where I won't lose it. Then you can put a little CLP on a rag, wipe this down. If you even so choose, nylon brush it, hit it up with that nylon brush. Same thing in that spring area, put a little CLP with a rag, get it covered, hit it up with the nylon brush. You just want to make sure you don't damage your spring. Now what you can do with this, from this position, if you want to get and wipe down that pin, you can pull this down, right? That's fine. On this section, now again, I don't take this apart. I believe it can come apart, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to take it apart, though. We're not going to fool with that. The furthest it goes is right here. And you don't want to try to force it any further, or you will break something. And the reason it goes in like this, is for putting it back into place, basically. So that's your striker assembly, how you remove it. Now let's talk about how you put it back in. So we're going to get that spring, and I'm going to put that spring gently back over the firing pin there. I'm going to get my slide back into position. And so what I'm going to do, you see that fin we talked about, I'm going to guide that fin in the channel, right in that groove there. And then as it follows behind, I'm going to make sure that little tab is following directly behind that fin. Now to make sure this locks into place, I'm going to push down that assembly, that little, not assembly, but that little button, and I'm going to make sure it locks in. There you go, like so. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my finger to get it lined up, and then I'm going to grab my punch, and I'm going to get it all down, use that, and with my punch, I'm going to press it down and push it all the way down. And it should lock right into that little circular hole like so. Holding down pressure with my punch, not to damage anything. I'm going to get my plate. On that plate, remember we talked about those shells. There's little grooves here in the slide that you're going to line up. And then there's a groove in the middle that you're going to line that up with the tail end of that firing pin. You push it into place like so. And then you're like this. And if you notice, we're not all the way in. It may, well, in this situation, it just let me push it right on in. If it won't let you push it in just with your hand, what you can do is you take that punch, put it in the hole, push down, and then push it into place, and it'll lock right in for you. And that is how you remove and reinstall your striker assembly on the Walther PDP F-Series. Now we're ready to reassemble. And what I'm going to do is just get everything here, put my barrel in first, and again, we go into detail a little bit more on that cleaning video that we did previously. Lock that into place, get my guide rod, the rounded end goes in the little hole, put a little pressure on that to lock it into place, like so. Now we're ready to put it in. Line everything up. I like to lock it back. Again, yes, it's clear, just making sure. And then fire, hold back. Make sure that reset happens. It does. And then test frac. We're good to go. Guys, thank you for watching it always. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, consider dropping a like and subscribe. And hit that bell notification to stay up to date on all my video releases. You guys have a safe day and live the dream.